Hey, how's it going? My name is Matthew Rivera, and I've been gaming for 20 years.
Hi, my name is Javier Montero, and I've been gaming since as long as I can remember.
Yeah, so first time I played a game, um, I was about 5 or 6 years old, and it was Crash Bandicoot actually for PlayStation 1.
I believe the first game I ever played was Tetris. Um, I just loved playing that game because it's a puzzle game, so it required me to think a lot and try to get strategies in order to get the pieces from the top to the bottom and just keep getting a high score, and it just goes on and on. So it kept me immersed, and if I ever got into a situation where the pieces are getting to the top, I just have to figure out a path in order to get it back down to the bottom. And I love that. And that's how I see like other games as well, where I'm just trying to, you know, solve problems. And that's what I do now in my everyday life. My mom gifted me a bunch of consoles throughout the years. So like the first console I ever gotten was the Game Boy Color. And then from there just like progressed. I got the Game Boy Advance, the GameCube, then a Switch, Wii, PS4, PS5, which I was lucky enough to get my hands on. Naturally, it just became part of my life. I got to connect with old friends and new friends through online gaming, and honestly, I'm glad I picked it up because during the pandemic, it gave me something to do. Since everyone's stuck at home, I was able to play with whoever I wanted at any time.
So what gaming means to me personally, it's kind of a hybrid of like an escape, but also it's definitely a lot of fun. You know, it's kind of like your own personal world where you can kind of just get into whatever you're doing, whatever you're playing with, whoever you're playing with, and escape the realities of like the everyday life. And it's kind of almost therapeutic depending on obviously what you play at times. But for me, it's a nice detachment from, you know, the everyday hustle and bustle that you go about.
Essentially, I like gaming because it lets me escape reality in a way. I get to immerse myself in like this game where I can become a character doing unrealistic things. For example, like in Apex, I can jump ridiculous heights and not die. Or a game like Ghost of Tsushima, where I can become like a samurai and travel the open world and like also learn the Japanese culture. It's just a way for me to like escape reality.
So there was a time at the Fortnite hype days when I was considering possibly, you know, trying to reach that peak of pro gaming, as I'm sure many people have. But that was something that I definitely considered at that time. I don't think I could ever reach a pro level after seeing what professionals go through and the training that they have to go through, very extensive. In terms of content creation, I haven't fully considered doing it or not. I don't think I'm completely opposed to the idea. I just haven't dipped my toe in that water to really test it out yet. So maybe in the future, who knows?
I've thought of gaming full time, but it's a career that's kind of tough to achieve, especially because you have to sacrifice a lot of hours, and like in the end result, you might not get what you want. It might turn out that I'm not as successful like as I want it to be, but I'm taking the passion that I like, which is coding, and I'm trying to combine that with gaming and become like a game developer of some sort. So like right now, like I studied software engineering, and right now I just want to see if I can kind of take a route to that direction to become a game developer. My current lineup is Apex Legends and Ghost of Tsushima. I mainly play Apex Legends because when I'm playing in a team, there's a lot of communication that needs to be involved, and there's something like that rushes me when I'm like playing when I'm versing against another team and I'm trying to like do call outs and everything, and I'm trying to like we're trying to win that fight and get away as soon as possible. Like it's just a rush in that game. And then for Ghost of Tsushima, it's a single player game that I can just play solo and just kind of like not just be on my own. But those are my two games right there that I play.
So right now, my current lineup of games pretty much consists of just a couple, usually first-person shooters. Primarily right now, Call of Duty Warzone. Also Apex Legends. I do dabble in some other RPG games and stuff like that, but those games are really what I play primarily. And I think the reason I keep on going back to them is that it's always new. Every game is online based, obviously. They're battle royales, which is, you know, has just about 100 people depending on which game drop in the game with you, and you know, it's kind of a survival of the fittest and see what happens. And every game has a different kind of play style and changes, and it's very different, and I like that. I like the change of the game. It keeps it from going stale. At certain times it can get boring, but for me, that's what I'm with right now. I like those games. That's what keeps me going back to them.
Something that I do to get better at a video game is I watch Twitch streamers, because usually they're pretty good at video games. So I see what kind of movements they do that I can incorporate in my own type of game style. And also watching YouTube videos, because there's so much content out there where people are just showing off like impressive moves that they do in video games as well, and I try to emulate that. So I implore that other people do the same thing when they're trying to get better at video games. Just Twitch, YouTube.
So for anyone who might be playing certain games, especially the ones that I mentioned, whether it be Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, other first-person shooters, stuff like that, for almost any game out there, you'll find some sort of content creator or streamer who plays those games and either plays them consistently enough to know that they're good at it, or you can use it for reference points or what say whatever it may be. But you could always learn through that, and I think that's one thing that I learned from starting back in Fortnite, was watching content creators and professionals play when they would stream their games, or watching highlights and stuff like that, and you almost innately take on those traits and personality things as much as you can to try to bring yourself up to that level of competition. So I think that's kind of how I got better at those games. I'm nowhere near the professionals or even certain content creators, but for me personally, that's how I learned how to elevate my game to a certain level. My name is Matthew Rivera, and that's my story on gaming.
My name is Javier, and with all that said, that's what gaming is to me.
What advice would you give to people who are trying to get better at the games that they're playing?
Get good, kid. I mean,